Thanks for staying with us. So we still have the Deputy Minority Leader, Honorable Toby Okechukwu. Sir, are you still there? All right. So now let me just ask you, would you say you are in support of the communique the governors of the southern parts of Nigeria agreed to?
Yeah, you asked whether I was in support of the Southern Governors Forum.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
yes.
Definitely. And we have said so in by the House of Reps members who have Southern extraction and by the Senate.
I can't do it.
We are completely in support of the communique. I said that support has been sufficiently expressed in the press statement that was issued by members of the House of Representatives from the South and the members of the Senate from the South. So we are completely whole and entire in support of such a communique by the governors.
Okay. I think it's done with the question. That's fine, sir. So today in the papers, the Arewa Consultative Forum had spoken against the communique, though they said they agreed with every other thing, but it's just the issue of restructuring that they didn't agree with, because they felt that people who are championing restructuring at the same time are championing the dissolution of the country. What's your take on this, sir? And how can it be better explained to them?
Well, essentially, if you read the communique very well, you will understand that the Governors Forum communique was very clear. It was also very qualifying. They were talking that with regard to police decentralization, having state police. They were also talking about fiscal federalism. And that means devolution of powers to the subnational government. And this is what we've been talking about. As a matter of fact, if you have read APC committee report headed by El-Rufai, they are in all fours with the Southern Governors communique. There's no distinction. They call for state police. They call for fiscal federalism. And there are things that the states can do better. There are things that the subnational government can do better. And you can see how we are gradually being deconstructed by insecurity. So I wouldn't see why there would be any objection to it. And as a matter of fact, Southern governors also called for dialogue. And it is in such forum that these issues can be discussed. So I don't think it is making assumptions or beginning to read people's mind, even when they have not said that. They express.
Honorable Toby.
Yes.
There was an objection, however, saying that outrightly declaring open grazing is unfair to those who are doing legitimate herder business. So they were saying that if the southern governors had probably come up with some kind of a timeline where they know that at this, by a particular time, they have to move their cattle back to the north. Especially these things are happening because of climate change and all that. So they are somewhat at a point, in a fix right now where they are stuck in the south. And here the governors have declared that open grazing is totally banned. Where does that put people like that?
No, if you read the statement, they said that there should be ban on open grazing. And of course, administratively, you will find out that those things will be worked out. But more importantly, they are saying the same thing the northern governors said on the 9th of February in Jos. Go and get through your papers. You can Google it. So this has been on the table. And you must appreciate that we need to address issues constructively. You see, leaders try to solve problems. They provide solutions. Leaders don't try to win any argument. What is different from what the 19 northern governors said on the 9th of February this year from what the southern governors say? So I think Nigerians should better look at the message and not the messenger. Because in this instance, it's a matter of who is saying it, and not essentially the message they are trying to say, because they're saying the same thing that was said in February by northern governors. It is no longer fashionable for us to be, putting children, subjecting them to labor, 10-year-old children and 14-year-old children to be herding cattle. It's improper. It's child labor. And you can look at the opportunity cost of doing so to the Federation. So what we need to do is work out a modality for it. And in all the points that were raised by the governors, they were geared towards solving a problem. Mention any of them, I'll tell you the problem is supposed to solve. So the restlessness in this country we have now and the apprehension will be cured by most of the solutions, most of the issues they have raised. And what we expect is that once they have agreed, they can engage their northern counterparts and will come to an understanding of the way forward. So let us not be talking across to each other. Let's talk together and reason together.
Right.
Yes, sir. Okay, so one of the questions that I had asked yesterday is to find out how the relationship between the South-South governors and the Northern governors is concerning this conversation. Because as you have mentioned, can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So I just want to know if we have the first step, which is this communique, and then now we're having responses to the communique by different people, especially also from the North.
I didn't get that right.
Okay. I'm just referring to the fact that we can say the first step to the meeting of the Southern governors in Delta states was the communique that has been presented, right? Then secondly, we have people responding to it. So I just was wondering what can be done, like what are the steps, what are the, what's the procedure that it can be carried out? So this is not just a conversation in media, do you understand, back and forth, back and forth. Where do these governors sit down? I know that they have the answer, but how do we carry this conversation to the next level? Because we don't want it to just end up as a piece of paper. We don't want it to end up as arguments and counter-arguments. We want it to mean something for Nigerians.
You're very right, my dear. The point to make is that the southern governors have had an occasion to meet. They have risen together. The northern governors have met earlier. They have a forum where they have governors' forum encompassing all of them. Our expectation is for them to gainfully engage themselves. And with that, they can also gainfully engage the presidency and bring a bill, an executive bill to Parliament, now that we are trying to amend the Constitution, and said, look, these are the irreducible minimum of what can guarantee the security of our people. This is irreducible minimum with regard to what will ensure a more perfect union. With that, you will now have a timeline, you will now have a program of action. But matters of principle are things that have been established now. So the next step is for them to engage at the Governors' Forum and deal with it. The governors from the North have had opportunity of interacting with. I agree with the state police issue. So I don't think that there are differences in this matter. It's a matter of working it out. And already that is completely on the agenda of the Constitutional Review. And more importantly, it is also, you know, the governors are executive representatives of our people. Then we have members who are representing us in Parliament. Our expectation is that our governors will engage their representatives, and they have expressed so. They are willing to do that, and we are willing to work with them.
All right. Let me just throw in one more question for you before we run off. Go ahead.
I watched a video this morning where I believe it was the governor was complaining that the southern governors did not engage the Fulani leaders, and they are upset that they had this meeting without at least informing them. Should they have informed them?
Well, of course, it will be good to engage, but you will understand that they are expressing issues regarding their environment. They are responsible for this environment. If you look at the land use decree, the governors are responsible for the allocation or utilization of land in their own jurisdiction. When the northern governors met and said that grazing was no longer fashionable, they didn't consult the South because they were discussing issues regarding their environment, regarding their geographical area. So you do not need, for purposes of expressing where you stand on an issue, to have consultations. When you are subjecting it to law, you can call for public hearing, and no law in this country can be subject to the procedure is that you must have public hearing. In such for practitioners of the trade like the headsmen and others will come into play. But when people are meeting on to state principles, I don't think it's necessary. There wouldn't be any need for that.
All right, I have to run, unfortunately, but I was going to mention the issue of constitutional review. There was a public hearing that we saw the communique. But we'll discuss it with the senator because our next guest is the senator. But thank you very much, sir, for joining us. We appreciate your contributions for this. I'm going to break. We'll be right back.
Thank you, and I wish happy Barakah and Salah to all our Muslim faithful.
Thank you, sir.
Same to you.
Thank you, dear.